Do you ever wake up in the morning and say, what's a doctor who used to be at the Royal Free Hospital making movies? I mean, this is a curious path you've chosen to become a storyteller. How did that happen?
Very briefly, we were making a TV show telling stories about autistic children. And it was a before, during, and after, and it was for the Sky Network in Europe. And it was taking children and families broken by autism in that child, getting the child properly diagnosed and treated for his underlying gastrointestinal problems, and watching the healing of the family as a consequence. And then we came across a child in Chicago, and he was in a disastrous state, large boy, 17 years old, violent, completely mute, was in 4-point locked restraints in a hospital for a total of over 80 days, given 28 psychotropic medications, each one making his disease worse. It was an utter nightmare of a situation. And we got him treated, drove him through the night to New York, got him out of the hospital, got him treated for his underlying bowel disease. Things were improving, but he went back to Chicago, and his mother was estranged from her husband. They had to go and live in hotels and motels. Every time he heard a siren, he would have a meltdown. They were coming to take him away and chain him up again and give him those drugs. And eventually he fell back into the hands of the psychiatrists. And the next thing that we knew about him is that he was in Lutheran Children's Hospital in 4-point locked restraints in the pediatric intensive care unit. And he had 2 intravenous sedations and 1 intramuscular sedation. We left to try and find somewhere safe for him. Halfway through the week, his insurance ran out. They took off his restraints, took out his IV and put him on the street. And a week later, his mother stabbed him to death and tried to take her own life. And we thought, this terrible story needs to be told, because on the face of it, it's just this crazy mother killing her damaged child. But it was actually a mother who loved her child so much, could no longer bear to witness his suffering, that she decided to enter into this murder-suicide pact to end it all. It was a tragic story, the abject failing of medicine to even begin to understand what was going on here. And 4 years later, she was in prison, and she had still not been convicted. She was awaiting trial. And we had made the movie, Who Killed Alex Spordalakis? The movie came out. And I got a call from her lawyer, pro bono lawyer in Chicago, lovely old man. And he said to me, Andy, I've just had a call from the state's prosecutor who was responsible for putting her in prison and putting her away for life. He said to me, I understand that there is a film that's been made about this. We would like to see it. He said, he called me back 2 weeks later and he said, we've watched the film and we can no longer prosecute this case in the same way. She will be released from prison next week. And that is the power of film. That's the power of film. And that was the first time in American legal history that a potential life sentence was commuted on the basis of a movie, telling the story of what really happened. And that persuaded me of the power of film. And Vaxxed came next.